Patrick Warren and David Spencer, the Milk Carton Kids. On the evening of Boxing Day 1996, best friends Patrick Warren, age 11, and David Spencer, age 13, left their Chelmsley Wood, England homes to play outside. Patrick left on his brand new bicycle, which had been a Christmas present, while David left on foot. The boys had been spotted by a police officer earlier that afternoon playing with another group of children in Meriden Park, where they had been warned by the officer not to play on the frozen pond. They roamed the estate until close to midnight when David returned to his home in Circus Avenue. He told his mother he was going to be spending the night at Patrick's brother's home a short walk away, and off they went. The last known sighting of the boys was just after midnight by a petrol station attendant after they had purchased a packet of biscuits. Derek Warren, Patrick's brother, went looking for the boys the next day when they had not arrived. Patrick's brand new red Apollo bicycle was found abandoned behind the petrol station near the bins, although the police did not realize that it was his until several weeks later. The petrol station attendant said he saw the boys walking toward Chelmsley Wood Shopping Centre, but they were never seen again. Then, in April of 1997, Patrick and David became the first children to appear on 4-pint milk cartons that were displayed in 770 Icelandic stores, part of a campaign by the National Missing Persons Helpline, as their mothers pleaded for their safe return. However, the boys are yet to return, and the case remains unsolved. Ben McDaniel. On August 18th, 2010, 30-year-old scuba diver Ben McDaniel was diving in the underwater cave at Vortex Springs, Florida. Ben had become a regular at this diving hole. However, on this day, Ben was witnessed by 2 employees of Vortex Springs trying to access a dangerous part of the cave by tampering with the gate that barred uncertified divers. One of the employees decided it was safer to unlock the gate for the determined diver to minimize the risk of him hurting himself or accidentally drowning by getting himself stuck inside the gate. Except, Ben never returned from his dive. 2 days following the incident, the same employee realized that Ben's truck had never left his parking spot on the day he went diving. It is important to note that the area Ben had parked in wasn't on Vortex Springs property, but on the previous owner's property. When investigated, Ben's black pickup truck was found locked, containing his wallet, phone, driver's license, and $1,100 in cash. Fearing that McDaniel had drowned, the employee immediately called the police. Recovery divers searched every possible corner of the cave, but always came back empty-handed. Even a veteran diver came back with the news that Ben's stature made it impossible for him to have become confined deeper in the cave. More than 16 volunteer rescue and recovery cave divers exhaustively searched every nook and cranny in the furthest, deepest areas of the cave, followed by an extensive above-ground search with cadaver dogs over the course of 36 days. Some puzzling evidence did come to light though. Some of Ben's equipment was found. 2 tanks known to belong to Ben were found near the entrance to the cave. However, this discovery struck some searchers as inconsistent with Ben's supposed intent to explore the cave he was technically not permitted to enter. Most cave divers place their extra tanks, which they need for decompression, at points along their route so they can follow them out, not at the entrance to the cave. And when tested, the tanks were found to contain just air, not the specialized gas mix Ben would have been likely to use. And this may have been due to Ben's rushed education on diving, for it was revealed he had not completed multiple courses and he had been racing through dives. Ben had documented at least 250 dives in just 4 months, meaning he was diving at least 2 or 3 times a day. He even drew out maps detailing the Vortex Springs caves, although these maps turned out to be incorrect with various errors. When a world-renowned cave diver came up empty-handed after the search, divers began to wonder if Ben was ever even in the cave. McDaniel had been living at his parents' beach house on the Emerald Coast during what they called a sabbatical. In the wake of a divorce, a business failure, and the death of his younger brother 2 years earlier. So, did Ben McDaniel drown in the deep Florida cave? Or did he go missing on purpose? I'd like to hear your thoughts. Antoinette Cayedito. In the early morning hours of April 6, 1986, 9-year-old Antoinette Cayedito vanished from her home in Gallup, New Mexico. When Antoinette's mother, Penny, awoke to prepare her daughters for school at around 7 a.m., she quickly realized that Antoinette was not in her bedroom. After speaking to her neighbors and searching the area, she eventually called the police and reported her daughter missing. She was nowhere to be found. Roughly a year had passed since her abduction without any leads, when suddenly the Gallup police received a frantic call from a girl claiming to be Antoinette. Let's take a listen.
Gallup Police Department. Hello? I'm Antoinette Cayedito. Okay, whereabouts in Albuquerque? Hello? Antoinette, where are you? Antoinette?
In the recording, we can clearly hear the young girl stressfully telling the dispatch her name and location until abruptly being taken off of the phone by an unknown male. Penny listened to the recording of the call and believes that the female voice was in fact her daughter. But unfortunately, the call wasn't active long enough to track the exact location. Almost 5 years later, after the release of age-progressed photos of Antoinette, a waitress in Carson City, Nevada, reported seeing a girl in her early teens that resembled Antoinette in the company of a quote-unquote unkempt couple. According to the waitress, the girl kept trying to get her attention by dropping a fork and squeezing her hand as she'd hand it back to the girl. After they left, she found a note written on some napkins under her plate that said, "Help me, call the police." But by the time the authorities were contacted, it was too late, and the girl was long gone. Nearly 5 years after Antoinette disappeared, her younger sister Wendy told detectives during a follow-up investigation that on the night she went missing, there was a knock on the door at around 3 a.m. and Antoinette had answered it. When she asked who was there, the knocker identified himself as Uncle Joe, in which she opened the door and was allegedly grabbed by a male and forced into a vehicle that sped off. Wendy never told the police about what she witnessed, for she believed she would get in trouble and therefore kept it to herself. Police ended up interviewing a man who was married to Penny's sister. However, he was soon ruled out as a suspect due to lack of evidence. It was never confirmed who the girl in the Carson City restaurant was, and to this day, Antoinette remains missing. Mayumi Arashi. On September 2nd, 1994, 27-year-old Mayumi Arashi, who was a new mother that was living with her family, left her home after telling her sister Yoko that she was going out to meet a classmate. However, Mayumi did not return that night, and the next day, Yoko decided to phone the friend that Mayumi allegedly met to find out where her sister was. The friend said that she hadn't made plans with Mayumi the previous day, and therefore didn't know where she could be. Later that day, a note, or more so a confession, was found in Yoko's wardrobe which read, "I was going out with A, but was betrayed. I'm sorry." At the bottom of the note was A's phone number, so Yoko decided to call and speak to A, who was apparently the man Mayumi was having an affair with. He said that he had met with Mayumi the previous day, and that if Mayumi was dead, he hoped that the punishment for the person who killed her would be prison. After this exchange, Yoko got hold of a private detective who tracked the movements of A for about 6 months. But the only strange incident the detective noted was that A had gone into the woods on the night of March 9th, 1995, carrying 2 drinks, but when police investigated the area, nothing was found. For years, Mayumi remained missing. In 2011, almost 2 decades after Mayumi's disappearance, Super J Channel held a segment on Mayumi and interviewed the family. Yoko was interviewed first and tearfully recounted the events we just spoke about. Although Yoko's interview was not online, viewers said they spotted Yoko and Mayumi's mother taping a note to a shelf that was behind Yoko, the note reading, "Don't believe what Yoko says." But why? Supposedly the confession note was destroyed by Yoko out of anger, therefore no one else saw the note. No one else witnessed any other claims from Yoko. Then, the father was interviewed, where he stated that they knew nothing about Mayumi's alleged affair until Yoko found that memo, and that on the day she disappeared, it seemed like something was bothering her. However, the note taped by Mayumi and Yoko's mother was never discussed. Despite this weird turn of events, Mayumi Arashi remains missing, and there are no new clues as to what may have happened to her. Now, of course, this is a sad and somewhat obscure case, but it was also so difficult to find any facts or further information, and it begs the question, did Mayumi Arashi really go missing? Or has this entire story been fabricated? Let me know what you think, or if you have any more information on this case. Alfred Ballhardt. In the summer of 1938, Alfred Ballhardt and his family went camping in Rocky Mountain National Park, Colorado. On July 2nd, while on a hike to go fishing, Alfred allegedly fell behind. Once his parents noticed, however, it was too late, and the 4-year-old was nowhere to be found. Upon calling the park rangers to alert them of the missing child, they immediately dammed the river and dragged it for 6 miles, thinking that the boy may have fallen in, although the parents were sure that he was abducted, and unfortunately, nothing was recovered from the river either. Next, the rangers brought out bloodhounds, which were able to follow the boy's scent 500 feet uphill from where his parents had been when he vanished. This is exceptionally bizarre, seeing as he disappeared when he was behind them, as opposed to in front of them, as the scent trail suggested. More bloodhounds were apparently called in, and followed the same paradoxical trail, only to lay down in defeat when they reached the fork in the road. The search was eventually called off after a total of 10 days spent looking for the missing child. However, the day after Alfred originally went missing, on July 3rd, William J. Eels and his wife were hiking about 6 miles from where Alfred was reported missing. While taking a break, they were shocked to see a young boy making a strange noise while sitting on a rock in the infamous Devil's Nest, but he was suddenly jerked out of view, or so the report goes. Once home, they called the rangers and told them where they had spotted the boy, but the rangers were nearly certain that it was impossible for him to reach that area, for grown men with proper equipment couldn't reach it for at least 2 days. With the sighting, they sent out 150 men to search the area, but to no avail. 5 months after Alfred's disappearance, his father received a ransom note asking for $500, which is about $9,150 in today's money, in exchange for the boy, for he wasn't taking to them. The police wrote this incident off as a hoax though, and the boy remained missing. It is interesting to note that on July 8, 1938, a woman named C.A. Lynch spotted the boy on the side of a highway while driving from Big Springs, Nebraska to Ogallala, between 213 to 232 miles from where the boy went missing. She was certain that it was him, but unfortunately, that was the last known sighting of Alfred Ballhardt. Now, these circumstances are strange. The fact that the boy was able to travel miles and miles ahead of his family from where he was last seen in a day and end up in such a secluded part of the park, if the report is true, is really fascinating on its own. So, did Alfred drown? Was he kidnapped by some strange man wandering the forest? Was this the work of a predatory animal? Or could this have been something more extraterrestrial? What do you guys think? Ultimately, these are just a few of the thousands of people who have gone missing without any follow-ups and no conclusions. So, what happened to these people? Are they runaways who are escaping a life they did not want to live anymore? Or are they victims of something far more sinister? We may never know. And to the families who are mourning the loss of a loved one, just know, we are with you. Thank you for watching. If you have a strange video, recording, or story you'd like to share, feel free to email me at obscuretop5s@gmail.com. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one.